homemade tacos. Look at that. You almost need 2 hands for this one. All right, welcome back to my channel, YouTube. We're gonna jump right in. I don't wanna waste your time. So listen, I'm using maseca, but I highly suggest if you have a little extra money to get maseca corn flour. But listen, maseca is readily available and it's just fine for tacos, especially if you're at your house. But basically you just mix that with water and a little bit of oil of your choice or fat of your choice. You can use lard. I'm using safflower oil because that's what I have on hand. You want to cover that, let that rest for about 30 minutes. And then listen, we're going to hop in and making these salsas and the guacamole. So check this out. I'm using these 5x6 tomatoes. I highly suggest don't use overripe tomatoes for pico de gallo. Okay, just to give you a rundown, I'm making pico de gallo. I'm also making guacamole. If you're gonna make pico de gallo, you might as well make guacamole because it's pretty much the same ingredients. I'm also making a guajillo salsa, all right? I think what's really important to note is, a lot of people make the mistake by cutting all the ingredients and throwing them straight into the bowl. And I think what's really important is have all of your ingredients separate. So I'm cutting the onions, I'm cutting the tomatoes, I'm cutting the cilantro, I'm slicing everything, and then I'm gonna have it separate. And then what I do is I make the salsas towards, individually. So a good example of this is people just, I see people just cut the red onions and then they'll go straight into a mixing bowl. Cut the tomatoes, go straight into the mixing bowl. And what I like to do as a chef is, mix everything individually, right? Get everything cut and mise en place out and then mix to my liking. So there will be a recipe for the things that need recipes down in the description below. But, when it comes to salsas and, things like this, pico de gallo and guacamole, I think it's really depends on the person that's eating it, whether you like or you want to add or subtract. So anyway, I will put the baseline down there, but I think it's up to the person eating it to decide how much of what they want in there. So notice how I'm using a bench scraper. This is just a little pro tip. Don't use your knife. Try not to use your knife to scrape on the board. I think it's really important just to get this little bench scraper off Amazon. It's like, $5 to $10. And here I'm cutting, this is a jalapeno. I usually do not put spice in there for my family because they don't really enjoy spice, but I'm making these tacos for myself. So daddy is putting spice in there. This jalapeno was fiery hot, so I actually removed the seeds. And that's another pro tip. Listen, you can get some jalapenos that are like green peppers and you can get some jalapenos that will light you up. So I think it's important to taste it and then make the decision on how much you want to add. From there, listen, we're at the home stretch here. So also another thing is what I really don't like doing, I think this is another pro tip, is juice your limes in the moment. I truly believe there are some essential oils that are added to the salsa when you squeeze it with this lime juicer. And I think citrus in the moment like this for salsas is a really good idea. Now, come on, if you're in a restaurant, then you got to do what you got to do to, mass produce. But man, when you're at home, take a note on how I'm doing this. So basically, I'm adding the ingredients as I see fit, right? I'm not just mixing everything like crazy. I think it's really important to, add your ingredients, mix it up, taste it, and then re-season. Let the pico de gallo especially sit for about 20 minutes and then taste it because the tomatoes start to break down, the acid starts to break down the tomato, you see the juice from the tomato leave. So I think what's really important is just taste it after 20 minutes and then re-season. Cool? Now for my my guacamole, I like it, I'm putting this on a taco. So if this was for like regular tortilla chips, then I would leave it kind of chunky. I kind of like the texture, but for tacos, I want to make it just ever so smooth. All right, moving into the guajillo salsa. Now this is really easy actually. I learned this in Las Vegas from one of the prep cooks I used to make family meal, and I love this salsa. It's so bright, it's so vibrant, and basically it's literally a quarter cup of garlic cloves. I used about 15 guajillo chilies with the seeds removed, and then you're gonna bring this up to a boil with some salt, a little piece of white onion, and then let it sit for about 20 minutes. You can add a splash of vinegar, but what I did is I waited. So after it steeps, I'm gonna taste it. Here I have a spice mixture. This mix will be down below. These spices are all toasted. There's also some dried chili in here. Now I used bird's eye chili. Usually I would use arbol, but these bird's eye chilies that I have are really good. And I dried them myself. So as you can see, I'm adding a teaspoon of this spice mix to the guajillo salsa. And then this spice mix, I'm gonna use the rest for the chicken. I'm adding onion, garlic powder, then I'm adding some dark chili powder. or ancho chili powder, I should say. Then I'm gonna add some smoked paprika, and I'm gonna grind this all up. And then I'm telling you right now, this was so aromatic. Always toast your spices, okay? I'm telling you. And if you don't have a really good connection for spices, try to get spices whole and grind them yourself. All right, so I'm using chicken, but you could obviously use any protein you want. I'm taking the spice mixture, I'm mixing it around, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hit this with a little bit of oil, and then we're gonna get into cooking. And I mean, you can do this at your house. This was so easy and so delicious, I'm telling you. All right, here we go. We're gonna make these tortillas. Now this tortilla press was a gift for me, but you could use whatever tortilla press you want. If you don't have a tortilla press, use the back of a saute pan. But I think it's worth it to make your own tortillas because, you know, if you're in a remote location and you don't have access to tortillas like I do, like here in San Francisco or Los Angeles, then just make your own. It's really easy. In the midst, while I was making these tortillas, I went ahead and blended up my sauce. I did not use all of the water, but I just used what I needed to get it blended. From there, take it out of the blender, but we're not finished there yet, okay? So tortillas are made, salsa is almost finished. We are gonna sear the chicken. So super hot pan, I'm using a cast iron. I love the caramelization that's developed, especially on small pieces like this. So you're gonna saute this around. Literally it takes about 4 to 5 minutes. High heat, quick and fast, okay? But from there, after the chicken is cooked, you're gonna take it out, okay? But do not do anything to the pan. Put that pan right back on the heat, okay? And I'm gonna show you why. This is the best part. So see all that goodness on the bottom? You're gonna deglaze with that guajillo salsa, right? And then from there, you're gonna stir it around, and you kind of wanna fry this salsa a little bit and cook it, and then I'm gonna finish it. So now that I've turned the heat off, it's still bubbling because of the residual heat, but season it with lime juice, cilantro, salt, and then boom, we are finished. I'm telling you, this came together so quick. Anybody could do this. I'm just being fancy. I'm using a little bit of radishes. I got a lime wedge, some cilantro, and I also made some pickled veggies, which I think is super easy. Now, listen, this is the build right here. Tortilla, warm, guacamole, the chicken, and then I come in with the rest, and I'm telling you, you can make your taco however you want, but what I really like is these pieces of chicken in a taco. I don't really like super chopped up pieces of chicken. I like things where you can see and you can identify what they are, and they, you have the textures. Tacos are near and dear to my heart, especially when I lived in Los Angeles. I'm hitting this with the guajillo salsa, and I'm telling you right now, it was really good. Everything was spot on. I'm using cotija cheese here, but honestly, I would recommend to use crema fresca. But the thing is I gotta be honest, I'm lactose intolerant. I won't admit it, so it doesn't really work out for daddy over here, but I'm dipping it in the salsa, and I'm telling you, I really enjoyed these. So give this a try. I'm gonna leave all the stuff down in the description. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to see more videos and easy recipes like this.